This comment on my last post helped me understand that some people are missing the role of copyright in open source. The comment goes, "It's funny seeing the sudden surge of 'copyright is awesome' on the internet now that it's become a useful talking point to bludgeon the hated abominable intelligence with. We can think about Copyleft as a kind of hack of the copyright system." What is Copyleft? The Free Software Foundation defines it as a method to make a work free and requiring all modified versions to be free as well. The default way that copyright works is that when you create an original work, you own the copyright on that work, which gives you some exclusive rights over the intellectual property. Since those rights are exclusive, you need to assign your rights to others if they want your permission to exercise your rights. Open source inverts the default notion of copyright. By releasing your work under open licenses, the copyright owner grants others the same rights that the copyright owner has over the work. Since that means that the copyright owner is effectively giving the work away, with additional restrictions depending on the license, it gives that work new life. Like royalty-free music on YouTube, people will spread the work, and the community of people who find it useful can fix issues and add new features, helping it spread even further. The results are evident. Open source lets hobbyists connected by the internet to compete with software built by professionals working at big software companies. According to a Harvard study, open source has an economic value of $8.8 trillion. It is so powerful that it allowed KDE to develop a browser engine that was eventually forked by Apple to WebKit and then forked again by Google to form Blink. The two dominant browser engines on the market today are Blink and WebKit. These engines are what power big tech web browsers like Chrome, Safari, and Edge. Open source is what propelled competition between Linux and its entirely open source stack with huge big tech companies like Microsoft and Apple. Google's adoption of open source in Linux and Android helped eventually force Microsoft out of the mobile operating system market. The Linux desktop has even gone to the point that Valve is promoting it as a gaming OS to run Windows games. You don't even need to run a Microsoft OS to run Windows games anymore. Open source really is powerful stuff. I'm mostly talking about copyleft licenses, since they differ from permissive licenses by preserving the openness of the original work by placing changes to the work under the same open license. These licenses are sometimes called viral, because by using the virally licensed work in another work, you transmit the license, or virus, to the new work. The virality ensures that the work given away freely continues to be given away freely. Copyleft doesn't just apply to software. Contributions on Wikipedia are licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike license, for example. This means that any contributions to the encyclopedia are also given freely. The share alike in Wikipedia's license is a covenant that Wikipedia has made with its contributors and that Copyleft developers have made with open source contributors. Since arriving on the scene, AI companies have relied on massive datasets to train their large language models. The datasets include virtually anything posted online by anyone: blog posts, books, music, illustrations, even Reddit comments. While the AI companies have stolen from us all, I think that open source and free culture communities have been disproportionately damaged and will continue to be. The key covenant that differentiates copyleft licenses from permissive ones is that they are shared alike. That is the bargain that the big tech pirates blow a hole through. By incorporating copyleft data into their models, the LLMs do share the work, but not alike. Instead, the AI strips the work of its provenance and transforms it to be copyright-free. That is because the US Copyright Office has rightly advised that AI-generated works are not copyrighted. This means that the large language models are copyright removal devices. Copy open source data in, and you get copyright-free data on the other side that you are then free to plagiarize into newly copyrighted works. While this process robs all copyright owners, it's particularly damaging to people who share stuff for free. That's because many of the people on sharing communities are sharing not for money, but for the love of the game, what librarian Fobazi Attar calls vocational awe. Vocational Awe explains why many people are willing to share freely with others, even when being involved can be degrading and thankless. Ms. Attar invented the term to describe how people who believe that they are serving the greater good can be more easily taken advantage of. It explains why people share even when they aren't getting paid. When was the last time you heard of a plumber who repaired leaks for free? It doesn't happen. So when AI comes for the plumbers, they will need to be coerced for their training, or they're gonna want to be paid. Plumbers aren't gonna work for free, and if they do, they know exactly how much value they're donating. LLM piracy of open source works damages the value exchange that contributors make to the community. When AI strips provenance from contributions, the contract is broken. Their contributions are no longer shared alike. Instead, the contributions are stolen. As Sean O'Brien, founder of the Yale Privacy Lab at Yale Law School, points out, now those same corporations are using that wealth and compute to train opaque models on the very code bases that made their existence possible, and threatening the legal structures such as reciprocal or copyleft licenses like GNU GPL by labeling all the outputs of Gen AI chatbots public domain. Others will rightly realize that the bargain has shifted and will stop contributing. You can see that shift happen on Stack Overflow, a popular question and answer site for programmers. The data speaks for itself. Since ChatGPT became generally available, there have been half as many posts and comments made to the site. Perhaps the people who might have contributed are instead helping to train a chatbot like Copileft or Gemini. I'll tell you what they aren't doing though. They're not helping the community anymore. Contributors need to ask themselves, does it make sense to continue to contribute directly to the big tech LLMs for free? It isn't as if they're getting paid like they work for big tech. If you like this video, share it with a friend. I'd love your thoughts on new video ideas.